Hello everyone, my name is Prajakta Dhage and I'm from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. Today I'll be taking a lecture for SYBSc Semester 1. Subject is Animal Systematics and Diversity 3. We all know that it is paper 1. So, the chapter that we are going to deal with today is the third chapter of this particular subject, and its name is Introduction to Subphylum Vertebrata. So, this is the first lecture of this particular chapter. So, today's topic that we are going to deal with is salient features of the vertebrates. See, we have already seen the chart of classification chart in the previous some of the videos. So again I'll revise it once for you. So basically there is phylum Chordata. So under phylum Chordata you have two groups, right? One is going to be Acrania and the other one is going to be Craniata or Euchordata. So under Acrania or Protochordata, we have already seen that we have hemichordates, we have urochordates, and then we have the cephalochordates, right? And each of them will be further divided into various classes. Now moving on to the class Craniata. Now this particular class Craniata or Urochordata has only one subphylum, and this one subphylum is referred to as Vertebrata. We have already seen some of the characters of the vertebrates, or say Vertebrata, which organisms are included in Vertebrata. We have seen it, right? So the characteristic features of vertebrates is going to be presence of the vertebral column, right? How does this vertebral column come? So basically the notochord, I have already told you that notochord is a structure which will be responsible for the support, right? It is going to be a supportive structure. Now in case of say protochordates, this notochord was present. Now in case of vertebrate, this particular notochord is either completely replaced by the vertebral column, right? Now vertebral column means we all know that there are presence of vertebrae. Okay, so now the vertebrae are much more stronger structure as compared to the notochord. So now the vertebrates, when we talk about vertebrates, let's see what are they. So as I've already mentioned, phylum Chordata is going to include only one subphylum, that is Vertebrata. The major part of axial endoskeleton of vertebrate is made up of vertebral column or the backbone. So in some forms what happens is column is made up of cartilage, and in majority of the other it is formed of ossified structures called as bones. This we have already discussed in the previous lectures, where the vertebral column may be either cartilaginous or it may be bony. Now when we talk about cartilaginous endoskeleton, it is going to be, see, basically cartilage is not as strong as the bone. Bone is much more stronger structure as compared to the cartilage, right? So see, in some of the forms there may be only cartilaginous endoskeleton may be present. In some of the forms only bony endoskeleton may be present, but in some other forms there will be presence of cartilage at some points, even if the vertebral column is made up of the bony structure or bones, there are going to be certain structures in these organisms which are made up of the cartilage. Now take an example of our ears, right? The outer portion of our ears is nothing but the cartilage. Okay, so let's move on to the other parts. Presence of cranium or skull enclosing the brain is another characteristic feature of these vertebrates. So presence of brain box or cranium is characteristic feature of vertebrates. Let's one by one see what are the silent features of the vertebrates. Now what does this word vertebrata means? I have already discussed it in previous videos also. So vertebratus is backbone, right? Now let's move on further for general characters. Now we all know that these are bilaterally symmetrical organisms, they are metamerically segmented, they may be aquatic, and see, most of them you will find them in terrestrial environments. Okay, majority of the organisms you will also find them in water, maximum of them are going to be the terrestrial ones. Now the coelom is large. Coelom is true body cavity and it is usually schizocelic. I have already explained the meaning of schizocelic in the very first video of chordates. Now in these organisms the body comprises of head, neck and tail. Now the tail we have already seen in chordates. There is in some of the forms, rather in majority of the forms, post anal tail is present, which means that after the anus the tail is going to start. So body is made up of head, trunk and post anal tail. Now see, you might have seen a frog, right? And then you have seen yourselves in the mirror. You people have neck, but the frog does not have a neck, right? So there are some forms in the vertebrates. Both of us are vertebrates. Frogs are vertebrates, we are also, humans are also vertebrates. So the neck may be present in some forms and it may be absent in the other forms. Clear? Now let's move on to the other point. Two pair of appendages are present on the trunk region. Okay, now in some cases they may be reduced. Okay, very small appendages may be present, or in some of the forms like snakes they may be totally absent. Now what is the function of these appendages? It is basically an organ to support the organism, and major part is played in order for locomotion. It becomes easier for organisms to commute from one place to another or locomote from one place to another because of the presence of these paired appendages. Clear? Now let's move on to the endoskeleton. First we will see body covering. So the body covering or integument is a stratified epithelium, okay, made up of an outer epidermis and inner dermis with many mucus glands in aquatic species. Okay, this may this may vary. Some certain components may vary with the class of the animal, with the group of the animal. Okay. Now let's move on to the endoskeleton. Already mentioned, endoskeleton is bony, or it may be cartilaginous, or it may have both the things. Like we have some part of our body does have cartilage as a supportive system, and the major portion of our body is going to have bones as the endoskeleton, which is going to support us. Endoskeleton, exoskeleton I have already spoken about in the videos of chordate, first chapter. Now what else does the endoskeleton comprise of? It comprises of the skull, see, then the vertebral column and the limb bones, correct? So endoskeleton is going to comprises of all these things, your entire vertebral column, then your brain box or your cranium, then all the bones that you have in your limbs are the part of endoskeleton. Now see, when the endoskeleton is present, obviously the muscles are going to come into consideration. So many muscles are attached to these bones or attached to these endoskeleton, so that the motion of this endoskeleton becomes much more easier. Okay, motion and locomotion both should become easier. That is why there are many muscles attached to it. Now let's move on to another thing, which is called as exoskeleton. We all know what is exoskeleton. In the first chordate lecture I have explained this also to you. So in case of exoskeleton, in some of the forms there are going to be scales present on the body. If you have seen the snake or any other organisms, these organisms bear scales on their bodies. Now birds are going to have feathers on their bodies. Okay, we human beings or say mammals, they are going to have hairs on their bodies. Claws again is characteristic of many of the vertebrate organisms. The best example is going to be of birds. Then nails, we have nails, Homo sapiens sapiens have nails, right? And the presence of horns. Okay, we have seen horns in many organisms, right? Like say a bull has a horn. Okay, so exoskeleton, this entire things, that is scales, feathers, hairs, claws, nails, all are going to be present in the exoskeleton. Now at the very beginning I have already explained this next point, which means that notochord is replaced by vertebral column. Understand one thing, notochord is also a supporting structure which will eventually get replaced by a much more stronger structure, which is called as vertebral column. Clear? Now let's move on to the digestive system. Now the digestive canal is more or less convoluted. Okay, and the liver is massive, but it is not the tubular kind of liver. Now in case of vertebrates, there are pharyngeal gill slits present, which may be 7 or less than that, but there are certain organisms like cyclostomes which bear more than 7 pair of gill slits, right? What is the purpose of pharyngeal gill slits? It is nothing but the openings through which the exchange is going to occur, gaseous exchange is going to occur. So basically gill slits are nothing but a respiratory structure. Now respiration is going to be by a pair of gills. Now these gills have a slits present. Gill slits, what are gill slits? These are nothing but the openings towards these gills. Clear? So paired gills in aquatic forms, so respiration is going to occur by paired gills in aquatic forms, and in case of terrestrial forms, it is going to occur by means of the lungs. Clear? Now we already know that what is a closed blood vascular system, right? What is a closed circulatory system? These organisms, say these vertebrates, are the organisms which will have closed circulatory system. Can you think of what is a closed circulatory system? Closed circulatory system means the blood is going to flow through the blood vessels. Let it be arteries, let it be veins, whatever it is not going to be like hemolymph, which is directly suspended into the body cavity. No, the blood is definitely going to flow through these blood vessels. Now in case of vertebrates, the heart is going to be ventral, muscular and a contractile structure. Now the chambers may vary from organisms to organisms. There will be, in some of the forms there is going to be 2-chambered heart. In some of the forms there may be 3-chambered heart, and in other forms there are going to be 4-chambered heart. Clear? So this was about circulatory system. Now let's move on to another character, which is excretion. Now excretion occurs by paired mesonephric or metanephric kidneys. See, these two kidneys are advanced type of kidneys. Protonephric kidneys are may be present in the larval forms, but majority of the times you will find mesonephric or metanephric kidneys in these organisms. Kidneys may be segmental or they may be non-segmental. Now let's move on to the nerve cord. Okay. So there is presence of dorsal tubular nerve cord in these organisms. Clear? Now what happens to this dorsal nerve cord? At the anterior end, it enlarges into a complex structure. Okay, it enlarges into a complex structure called as the brain. Okay, now this particular brain will be protected by the skull or the cranium or brain box. Okay, so dorsal nerve cord at its anterior end is enlarged from the brain. Now remaining nerve cord that is left after the brain forms the spinal cord. Okay, and it is enclosed inside the vertebrae. There are 10 to 12 pairs of cranial nerves present. What are cranial nerves? Do you know what are cranial nerves? Cranial nerves are nothing but the ones which are coming out of the cranial region. Okay, cranial region or are emerging from the brain are referred to as the cranial nerves. Now, presence of endocrine system is there. Endocrine system, hormonal system is there, right? Which may be made up of ductless glands and that regulates various body processes like growth and reproduction. Ductless glands, they do not have the ducts present in them. The secretion will be directly released. Okay, so endocrine system is nothing but the hormonal system that are present inside the organism. Now very simple point, the sexes are going to be separate in these organisms. Many of them, I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying many of them are going to show sexual dimorphism. What do I mean by sexual dimorphism is that the male and female are going to have certain differentiating characters in between them, so that we will be able to understand whenever we see that organism, we will be able to understand whether it is a male or a female of a particular species. Now the development may be direct or it may be indirect, right? Either, so if in some cases direct, young ones are born. In some cases what happens is there are larval stages present, so it can be both direct and indirect kind of development. So the examples for the vertebrates are Petromyzin is there, Myxine is there, Rana tigrina is there, Hemidactylus which is a wall lizard, then you have Columba which is pigeon, Gallus which is fowl, Felis means lion, Icus is zebra, and Macaca is rhesus monkey. So these were all the salient features of subphylum Vertebrata. And for today's lecture, this was all from my side, and thank you very much.